Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fascinating allegory. It's about a city, some, let's call them unusual new neighbors, and how a cycle of really well-meaning decisions can go horribly, horribly wrong.
Okay, let's just start with this first line, because it really sets the scene. The air in the small city of Emigrant didn't just feel heavy today. It felt oily. Wow. Right off the bat, you get this super unsettling feeling, don't you? Something is definitely off in the city of Emigrant, and it has everything to do with this strange new migration that's about to happen. So what are these new neighbors? Well, they're venomous snakes. Yeah. And as you can probably imagine, the moment they show up, the city basically splits right down the middle. Two totally different camps form, like instantly. And this is where you really see that division laid out. You've got the official story, right? The media is calling it a vibrant, growing ecosystem. They're being inclusive to woodland migrants. It all sounds so positive. But then you have our main guy, Evan, and he's like, no, this is a gang of venomous predators. It's an invasion. That clash, that's the whole ballgame. What people are told is happening versus what's actually happening. So what does the city leadership do? Do they proceed with caution? Nope. They roll out the red carpet. I'm talking miniature luxury condos for reptiles, special feeding stations with reptile kibble. They even give them quasi-legal resident status. It's wild. They're not just putting up with the snakes, they're actively encouraging them to come and stay. And that, right there, is maybe the first huge lesson from this story. You gotta be real careful about what you incentivize.
And Evan just nailed it with this line. You get more of what you subsidize. And right now, we're subsidizing our own extinction. It's such a simple but powerful idea, isn't it? The city isn't just making a mistake here. It's literally paying for its own destruction.
All right, so let's see where this goes. Because these policies of accommodation, well, they're about to spin completely out of control and turn into a genuine life-or-death crisis.
So what happens next? Well, surprise, surprise, people start dying. But here's the crazy part. Instead of ringing every alarm bell in sight, the media just reports the numbers. They turn these deaths into a dry statistic. The tragedy, the urgency, the obvious cause, it all gets washed away. They're just managing the problem, not actually solving it. And the official response, oh man, it is just a masterclass in ridiculousness. First, they do this big study, and guess what they find out? Snake bites come from snakes. Groundbreaking stuff. So what's the solution? Get rid of the snakes? Of course not. The solution is to make all the citizens wear special snake-proof boots and stay 6 feet away from nests. Oh, and one more thing. It is now illegal to harm the snakes in any way. So the entire burden, 100% of it, is put on the victims, not the predators.
And just when you think it can't get any crazier, it does. The policy escalates. Now, the government is mandating that citizens, including kids, have to get bitten by baby snakes to build tolerance. Just let that sink in. This is the point where the government isn't just failing to protect its people, it's actively forcing them to be harmed, all for a solution that makes absolutely no sense. Meanwhile, what's the media doing? Oh, they're just adding to the chaos. They actually admit out loud that they're inflating the death numbers. They're throwing in pets, livestock, even insects. And why? To be more accurate? No. They literally say it's because bigger numbers are more impressive. They're choosing drama over truth, and it just makes everything even more confusing.
So, you've got rising deaths and bizarre policies. The natural result? The city starts to fracture. The whole social fabric just rips apart, and people split into these two warring camps. And here are the two sides. You've got the snake haters. And that's a loaded term, but they're the ones using tech and data to try and track the actual threat. Then you have the snake sympathizers. Their view is that the snakes are just poor, misunderstood victims. Their solution? Adopt them, love them. They even want to turn the whole city into a snake sanctuary. Two completely opposite worldviews. And the story gives us this perfect, if horrifying, example of where that sympathy leads. There's a teacher who decides to hold a snake good manners school. She's going to teach cobras how to be polite. And, well, she gets eaten by her students. It's a really dark moment, but it's a brutal illustration of what happens when you let idealism completely blind you to the reality of a threat. Okay, so things are a total mess. And at this point, the government finally decides to change course. But as we're about to see, this just kicks off a whole new chain of disasters. Disasters that, honestly, anyone could have seen coming.
So, the mayor has a sudden flash of common sense. He revokes the snake citizenship and starts deporting them. Finally, right? A logical solution. But remember all those other bad decisions? Yeah, they've already set the stage for the next crisis.
So you think that's it? Problem solved? The city's safe now, right?
Wrong? Remember how they set up those city-funded farms to breed mice to feed the snakes? Well, now the snakes are gone, but the mice aren't. And we're not talking about regular mice, these are super mice. And with no predators left, they absolutely explode in population. It's a whole new plague, and it's a direct result of that earlier solution. This is like the textbook definition of an unintended consequence.
So now what? What on earth do you do about a super mouse plague that you literally created and paid for? You're not going to believe this. Their grand solution is to invite the snakes back, to hunt the super mice. I mean, just think about the logic here for a second. The city is now going to pay the snakes to solve the mouse problem that was created by the solution to the snake problem. The government isn't solving crises anymore. It's a machine that manufactures them.
And this whole cycle of insanity, it leads to the story's final, pretty chilling twist. This is where we find out what the real threat has become. Because out in the woods, something incredible happens. The snakes and the super mice, the mortal enemies, they stop fighting, and they realize something. They realize that the real enemy, the one that's weak, divided, and easy to exploit, isn't each other, it's humanity.
So they form a secret council, the Shadow Alliance. And they don't stop there. They bring in spiders, bats, all the creepy crawlies. And their goal isn't just to survive anymore. No. Their goal is to become an anti-human superspecies, to wage war on the city by exploiting its biggest weakness, the fact that people just can't seem to agree on what's actually dangerous.
And Evan's final thought just brings it all home. He says, we keep feeding, supporting, or employing our enemies, and then wondering why we're getting bitten. That's it. That's the whole story. The entire disaster came from one repeated mistake, helping your enemy and then being shocked when they hurt you. It's a fundamental failure to connect the dots. Which leaves us with one last big question. Obviously, the story of Emigrant is an allegory, right? But it's warning. That's for all of us. And it really makes you ask yourself, what is the cost of misidentifying an enemy? What happens, not just to a city and a story, but to us, to our society, when we refuse to see a threat for what it is, or we're just too afraid to call it by its real name?